My Grandfather's Stories, A Journey Through History. By Daniel. Hello. My name is Daniel, and I'm 17 years old. I live in a small town with my parents and my little sister. But today, I want to tell you about someone very special, my grandfather, Mr. James. He is 82 years old and loves history. He always says, if you want to understand the present, you must know the past. When I was younger, he told me many stories about his life and important historical events he saw or learned about. I want to share some of them with you today. 1. World War II and my great-grandfather. One of the first stories my grandfather told me was about World War II. He didn't fight in the war, he was just a child, but his father, my great-grandfather, was a soldier. He went to Europe in 1943 to help fight against the Nazi army. My grandfather remembers listening to the radio with his mother. There was no internet or TV back then. They listened to news every evening and waited for letters from the front. My great-grandfather came back safely in 1945, and the whole town celebrated the end of the war. My grandfather says that war is terrible, but it taught people to value peace and freedom. Now, every year on November 11th, we have a ceremony to remember those who fought in wars. 2. The first moon landing, 1969. The second story he told me was about something more exciting, the first moon landing in 1969. My grandfather was 26 years old. He had a small black and white television in his house, and he watched the moment live. He said, "Daniel, I sat on the couch with your grandmother. We couldn't believe our eyes. When Neil Armstrong said, 'That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind,' we clapped and cried. It was the time of the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union. Many people believed that going to the moon was impossible, but they did it. My grandfather says it was one of the greatest moments in human history. After that day, he started reading books about the solar system, planets, and astronauts. He even dreamed of going to space. 3. The fall of the Berlin Wall, 1989. My grandfather also told me about the Berlin Wall and how it was a symbol of division. After World War II, Germany was split into two countries, West Germany and East Germany. The wall was built in 1961 to keep people from leaving East Berlin. For almost 30 years, families were separated, and people in East Germany had little freedom. But in 1989, something amazing happened. People started protesting peacefully, asking for freedom and unity. And then, one night in November, the wall fell. My grandfather watched the news on his television and saw people crying, singing, and dancing on the wall. It was the end of the Cold War. He says the day gave hope to many countries around the world. 4. 9/11, the day the world changed. One of the saddest stories my grandfather told me was about September 11, 2001. That day, 4 airplanes were hijacked in the United States. 2 of them crashed into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. It was a terrorist attack, and many people died. My grandfather wasn't in New York, but he remembers how the world stopped that morning. He turned on the TV and couldn't believe what he saw. He told me, everything changed after that. Airports became stricter, people were scared, and the world became more careful. He explained that after September 11th, people from many countries started working together to fight terrorism and to try to make the world safer. 5. The COVID-19 pandemic, a story I lived too. Now, let me tell you a story that I lived with him, the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2020, when I was 12, everything stopped. Schools closed, stores closed, and we had to stay at home for weeks. I remember wearing masks, washing my hands all the time, and studying online. My grandfather didn't leave the house for many months because older people were at high risk. Even though it was hard, we talked a lot during that time. He told me, Daniel, this is history happening right now. You will tell your children about this one day. He was right. The pandemic changed the way we work, study, and live. Why I love history now. Because of my grandfather, I now love learning about historical events. I enjoy reading about revolutions, inventions, discoveries, and big changes in society. I learned that history is not just about dates, it's about people and their experiences, just like my grandfather's. He always says, you are part of history too. Every day, the world changes a little. Be curious, learn from the past, and help build a better future. Now, I want to study history at university and maybe become a history teacher. I want to tell stories like my grandfather told me, so other people can understand the world better. What about you? What historical event do you want to learn more about? Tell me in the comments below. Bye.